Good morning, beautiful people. It's time for your Housing Breakfast TV show, Housing Development. Glad to have you join me on yet another informative episode of the program. As always, I am Flora Ani, your Housing Diva. Before we delve into our lineup for today, let's see the news making rounds in the sector.
The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, has handed over keys to first batch of beneficiaries at the Goshen Garden City Estate, Edo State, comprising units of 3-bedroom fully detached bungalows. In his speech, the Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Madu Haman, highlights the uniqueness of the bank's products, promising that the mortgage institution is poised to do more in the housing sector.
The National Housing Fund NHF Mortgage Loan Scheme, which is granted at an interest rate of 6%, is the most affordable loan facility you can get from any financial institution in this country.
The Governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, has inaugurated the Anambra State Housing Development Corporation Board. In a statement released by the Press Secretary of the Governor, Christian Aburime, the board, which is tasked with disrupting the system in a way that is consistent with the governor's transformation agenda and the yearnings of Anambra people for proper housing, is chaired by former Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Mr. Emeka Sibeudu. The governor, who bemoaned Nigeria's millions of housing deficit, said that Anambra lacks adequate housing data, which is critical. While acknowledging the vast functions ascribed to the board, the governor told the board members that both the state government and the people of Anambra have high expectations of the corporation. The governor also challenged the State Housing Development Corporation to build estates with facilities that can be models in terms of drainage, pathways, a clean and green environment, as well as having waste disposal system. Land registration in Nigeria is encumbered with many challenges, which have led to many buildings having no documentation. The result has been inhibiting investment opportunities in the country's real estate market. Inefficient registration processes, corruption, and bureaucracy have been identified as some complications with land registration. The treasurer of the Nigerian Institute of Building, Lagos chapter, Phillips Ayotunde, said a lot of challenges had impeded the land documentation process, which had been exacerbated by human involvement in the process. According to him, the corruption level was very high, and before a file can move from one table to another, a person needs to be paid to facilitate the process for quick results. The government and stakeholders have been charged to take urgent steps to tackle challenges and dangers posed by climate change. The charge was made by participants in their various submissions at a workshop tagged The Rule of Law and Climate Justice, organized by the Attorney General Alliance Africa AGA Africa program in collaboration with the Nigeria Institute of Advanced Legal Studies (NIELS) and the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency (NISRIA) in Abuja. Participants also harped on the need for all Nigerians to begin to act responsibly towards the environment. In his remarks, Director General of NIELS, Professor Muhammad Ladan, who identified oil and gas, mining and automobile industries as major culprits in the emission of carbon climate change in the country, called on government, including all regulatory agencies, to align themselves with the Paris Agreement 2015 and the national laws, as well as ensure that companies comply with laid-down corporate responsibility action. According to Ladan, the law provides that all MDAs have desk officers on climate change, while the private sector, particularly those in oil and gas, coal, mining and automobiles, provides information about efforts they are making in ensuring that their products, operations, services are within the climate goal targeted at reducing carbon emissions.
full details of the news and more, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Access to housing is an important determinant of quality of life and human welfare, one that is both crucial to family well-being and essential to the overall health of the people. But when the houses built are far above the reach of the low-income families, what then becomes their fate? Let's watch as these residents cry for help for lack of affordable housing.
As the country's economy continues to bite harder, the number of rural-urban migration has increased. Most Nigerians now leave their comfort zone to the nation's capital to escape from the threat of poverty. However, they are now faced with a more intense challenge: affordable housing. A cross-section of residents in Abuja who spoke to our correspondent say the nature of the environment they find themselves is really challenging, as access to basic amenities in that area is alarming.
Now, seriously, we are getting some problems, whereby in the security problem, secondly, water problem, thirdly, that is the most important one, light issue.
The building in this place, they are too shut up. There's no space, no air. The buildings are too tied together, so I'm not comfortable.
I urge the government to please, the government that we vote into office, to look into our situation. Water is the most important thing. Light, hospital.
In Abuja, no fewer than 60% of residents in the city live in informal houses, which has poor quality and inadequate infrastructures. These citizens here want government to look into the issue.
It is for the government, well, to have a change of mind, have a change of style, have a change of strategy, have change for policies, at least to make Nigeria conducive and make the place conducive for people to live in. So here is not where someone can live.
Well, it's not our wish that we are living here, because of we cannot afford to pay inside town. Because sometimes you see self-contained 500,000, 800,000, which you cannot pay. But if government can help us and build houses with less money, we can live there.
Edward Adolu is a key player in the housing sector. He said government needs to set straight certain measures to ensure that developers are able to contribute in improving the housing factor of the country.
There are a lot of factors that need to be put in, that needs to be considered. The estate developer is ready, but what about the environment in which he operates? Are we talking of the cost of capital, the infrastructure, and even the land, availability of land? Those are the three basic things that an estate developer needs before he can boast of providing affordable shelter.
Housing is one of the basic essential factors of living. And for any nation to join the league of a developed world, housing as a basic human need should be at the front burner.
Looking for the most innovative housing construction festival? The best platform for an exhibition, an opportunity to network and increase your business reach. How to navigate the real estate and construction market trends? Then look no further, as the 17th Africa International Housing Show is here again. This year's ARHS gives you access to several innovations, including 400 plus exhibitors, 25,000 plus attendees, Africa's one-of-a-kind real estate CEOs Forum, ARHS Under 40 and Young Professional Meetup 2023, B2B Meeting, Networking App, International Conference on Alternative Funding for Housing. This year's event will witness a delegation of members of the Chartered Institute of Housing, CIOH London, and the UK Professional Association of Certified Housing Practitioners. Be part of this historic event.
Visit www.africahousingshow.com
or call 0916 500,000. 17th Africa International Housing Show, the largest housing conference and exhibition in Africa.
So glad you're still with me. A certificate of occupancy, also known as C of O, is a document issued by state government in Nigeria to landowners and property buyers as a legitimate proof of ownership. This document also spells out what the land can be used for: residential, commercial, or mixed development. on Voices on the Street today. Let's watch as Nigerians narrate their experiences and processes involved in acquiring the CFO. Take a listen.
The meaning of CFO is Certificate of Occupancy, and it's very, very difficult to get it by the average person here, especially in the FCT. Because CFO, the process, the bureaucratic process about getting the CFO is very difficult. I've just done a CFO recently, even at the local government level. It cost me a lot of money, and even up to now, I've never got it at the local government level, not to talk of at the FCT, right? So they should make it in a situation whereby even online, you can apply certificate of occupancy online and make submission online. It make the government official not to frustrate any process, that you can get your CFO with ease.
CFO means certificate of occupancy, and basically what I know is just a little bit. I know that you have to go to the development authority to get that particular document. Then they will check if they have cleared the documents at their own end, if it's maybe available for residents, if that's what you want to use it to do, or depending on commercial purposes, if that's what you want to use it to do. Then I think you have to pay them a fee for getting the certificate. Then they clear you, and then I guess you're ready to build your house.
CFO is a certificate of occupancy. It's literally a document handed over to someone who buys a property or owns a property. As to the procedure of acquiring a CFO, from the little I know, I think it's a complicated process.
To acquire certificate of occupancy here in Abuja is a very difficult one, because the process is very long. When you go to the what do you call it, FCDA, that's where you be ages. It's either FCDA or ages. But I have friends that went there to collect it. They went through a hell of stress before they can collect it.
CFO is certificate of occupancy, which is issued to any person, the owner of a building or plot of land or whatever, a property, landed property in Nigeria. But the process is quite difficult in Nigeria. So many orders, especially because of the bottlenecks. For you to get it directly is very difficult. You need to go through, some people. Just like normal Nigerian corruption factor. To get it, you go through a lot of problems.
Getting CFO is not that easy. You apply for many years, you go and come and all that. So I don't really think that it's really working or will have it. I don't know, except if the government can look into it.
I think a lot of processes here in Nigeria is usually tedious if you don't really know someone in there. That's number one. Number two, if you don't really know the ropes. And then number three is if you don't have money. Because like a lot of times when you go there, the officers, usually the people, the workers, the administrators, they could usually just do it, without, putting you through long process. But because they want to get money from you, right? So they'll let you go 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then they'll give all these other agents the opportunity to be scamming people with that CFO thing.
Nigeria here actually is not easy to get that, because it involves a lot of processes, moving from ages, FCDA to get this, to get that. In fact, you need to even in form of bribing or to see some officials before that certificate can come out.
CFO certificate of occupancy. I really think it's not very easy to get it, even when you are acquiring a legit property. Nigeria, due to a kind of high level of fraud, and the process of acquiring it is very hectic and very tedious.
Voices on the Street there, Nigerians explaining the cumbersome procedures in obtaining certificate of occupancy. We do hope the relevant agencies are watching and will do the needful to make the process of obtaining CFO less cumbersome. Coming up next, these housing professionals harp on the need for professional approach and the use of concrete. Concrete is one of the most commonly used materials in construction because it ticks all the right boxes for contractors and builders. Take a look.
With the incessant cases of building collapse in Nigeria, experts in the built environment have insisted that until professionals are engaged across the value chain, the menace will continue to pose a challenge to the sector and the nation. At the turn of the 21st century, Nigeria has seen a steady rise in the instances of building collapse. While this development has been blamed on factors such as use of non-professionals, poor oversight and weak enforcement of regulations, the need to check the scourge continues to agitate the minds of Nigerians. Housing development gathered from some experts in Abuja that building collapse can be addressed when the appropriate measures are taken. Chairman, Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, COBON, Builder Samson Ame Opaloa, makes a case for stringent measures to be taken urgently in order to check the trend.
It has become critical in building construction in Nigeria today because you will agree with me if you have been on site that placement of concrete on us, many of our sites have been handled by unprofessionals, alias Mawaka. And a simple thing like a variation in the water cement ratio affects not only the rate of strength development, it also affects the ultimate strength development. So that's how serious the matter of handling concrete is. It shouldn't be handled by non-professionals. And builders are at the core of this because you need to know what to do. Concrete is fundamental material in construction. In a country like ours, where our steel industry is largely undeveloped, for us to achieve massive development and heights in this country, we need to be knowledgeable and we need to use concrete and reinforced concrete. Therefore, the knowledge of concrete is not to be compromised at all.
While making his contribution, the Director of Estate, Works and Transportation at the Independent National Electoral Commission, Builder Leonard Oitsor, described the frequency at which buildings collapse in the country, describing it as a devastating experience for Nigeria.
It's hardly a month and you not hear of cases of buildings collapse in one city of Nigeria or the other. Many lives have been lost, families rendered homeless, and a lot of property, 1.5, lost. Some of these cases may be as a result of non-compliance with the regulation of development authorities in various states. It may be because of lapses in the production process. Whatever it is, the loss 1.5.
Some other practitioners in the sector also highlighted the importance of new technologies that are now available in the construction industry.
The use of concrete in building structures is not to introduce anything new, but to ensure and to project the proper use of concrete in buildings and other infrastructures. Abuja is likely to have some of the biggest construction companies in Africa, I would say, using some of the latest technologies in mixing, transporting, testing of concrete. So it means that one needs not to go out of the city or out of the FCT to be able to have a direct experience of how to properly use concrete.
The program is Housing Development. Welcome back. While Africa International Housing Show is the most preferred event for trade and exhibition, it is also the choice conference destination for corporate chief executive officers in housing and construction. A special section called the CEO's Forum is the biggest convergence of important personalities sharing ideas, experience, and expertise on how to lead a more effective and financially inclusive industry. This event hosts over 200 CEOs from various companies and firms in housing, construction, and business industries across Africa and the world. The CEOs in the real estate, mortgage finance, construction companies, and professional institutions will engage in conversations that will focus on macroeconomy and social-political environment and their impact on the real estate market and housing in general, as well as beyond rhetorics to making housing works. The forum, which is a gathering of high-profile professionals who are founders and business owners, will give opportunity to present and discuss challenges facing their respective organizations and the way forward. To register either as an exhibitor, to attend the CEO Forum or conference, visit www.africanhousingshow.com. The Africa International Housing Show is an annual event that brings together many vendors and exhibitors, provide attendees the opportunity of networking. The Africa International Housing Show had in attendance over 15,000 people. Africa International Housing Show generally attracts foreign visitors to Nigeria and the host city, Abuja. There is always an influx of visitors and the opportunity to network with thousands of attendees from contractors, developers, architects, government officials, and other construction industry professionals. The annual Housing Festival features over 500 local and international exhibitors and thousands of quality attendees showcasing the latest projects, development, investment, and opportunities. The most highly regarded Africa International Housing Show Conference and Exhibition aims to not only bring together top decision makers in the housing and construction industry, but also create opportunities for visitors to witness and experience the latest equipment, machineries, innovation of construction, interior designs, and property developers. Why exhibit? Meet the right people. The event will bring together the key players in the market, providing exhibitors with valuable face-time experience with both existing clients and potential new business partners. It is the best way to make sure you're meeting the right people for you. Exhibitions are a great way to build relationships, make sales, and gather relevant leads. Face-to-face interaction allows your sales team to achieve the equivalent of 2 months of work across 4 days. Exhibitions are a great way to stand out from the crowd. Build an attention-grabbing stand, have your best staff on site, conduct an effective brochure promotions, and scrupulously follow up with the contacts you have made. Showcase your latest products and solutions. Take advantage of the high number of visitors and the various demo programs throughout the event to showcase your latest product and build your brand awareness appeal to all visitors looking for solutions for their major construction and infrastructure projects by introducing your latest technologies and services. Africa International Housing Show is the ideal event for any product and technology launches. How can the housing sector be used to bridge unemployment gap and youth restiveness in the country?
The problem of youth restiveness is centered around the problem of unemployment, that is job creation. The subsequent government in this country has been playing lip service to job creation.
Employment is up.
Yeah, job creation, yes.
I shall bring to you the full interview next week, so keep a date. The provision of low-cost housing and identifying those at the low-income segment of the society who really need these houses is very imperative if we are to genuinely tackle the housing challenges facing the country. That is it on Housing Development Program today. Thanks for watching. I remain your housing diva, Fleur Ani. See you soon.